going to take a detailed look at a typical schedule for a restaurant owner during the leasing phase. A critical period that lays the groundwork for your restaurant's success. Understanding this timeline will help you effectively plan and execute each step without unnecessary delays. Let's break down each phase so you can manage your time and expectations precisely. The leasing process begins with drafting and negotiating the letter of intent. As we've discussed, this document outlines the preliminary agreement between you and the landlord, specifying terms such as the rental rate, space description, and intended use. You can expect this process to take 20 days. Following the LOI, you then start landlord work letter draft. Like the LOI, this phase takes about 20 days. Once the LOI and the work letter are in place, you will then dive deeper into lease negotiations. This phase is more comprehensive and can take at least 2 months. Here, every clause and detail of the lease agreement is scrutinized and negotiated by you and your lawyer. Once negotiations are finalized, the lease execution phase begins. This step involves the formal signing of the lease agreement and usually takes about 15 days. This is when all negotiated terms become legally binding, and it's essential to review the document thoroughly with your lawyer before signing. An exciting aspect for any tenant is the free rent period. Typically, this can last about 3 months. This period is crucial as it provides financial relief while you are setting up your restaurant, allowing you to allocate funds to other startup costs like equipment purchasing and initial inventory without the burden of rent. After the free rent period, the rent commencement begins. It's vital to ensure that all construction, furnishing, and staffing are completed within the free rent period to avoid paying rent on a non-operational restaurant. Understanding the schedule is pivotal for planning your restaurant's launch. Every phase from the LOI to the rent commencement is structured to ensure that both parties, tenant and landlord, have clear, agreed-upon terms that facilitate a smooth transition into the business phase. Now that you've signed the lease, you're on the clock to open your space. It's wise to begin thinking about your interior design during the lease negotiation phase. This means getting conceptual ideas, having your interior designer selected, and obtaining quotes. However, hold off on signing any contracts until your lease is officially signed. Why wait? Well, you see, lease negotiations can be unpredictable. They might take longer than expected, or in some cases, fall through. To avoid the risk of incurring costs on a property you might not secure, it's crucial to wait until the lease is signed and you're sure the space is yours. Before signing anything, establish a clear budget for your design costs. Ensure this budget is communicated to your designer. It's important to state explicitly that this budget is all-inclusive, and no additional costs should be expected. Generally, you should not spend more than $6,000 on design fees. However, with a focused scope, you can effectively achieve your design goals with as little as $3,000, depending on the complexity and specifics of your design needs. When drafting your designer contract, specify exactly what you expect to be delivered. This should include interior perspective renderings, at least 4 to visualize the space, floor plans and seating layout, detailed plans showing the layout and seating arrangements, interior elevations and lighting design. These elements help in visualizing the vertical dimensions and lighting ambiance. Design precedent. Package. A collection of inspiration images to guide the aesthetic direction. And lastly, branding design. Specifics on color palette, fonts, and logo. Designs to ensure brand consistency across all touchpoints. Remember, the goal here is to move seamlessly from lease signing to restaurant opening without delays or budget overruns. Clear communication, detailed contracts, and strategic planning are your best tools to ensure that the design phase complements rather than complicates your restaurant launch.